That's Not My Neighbor is an indie horror game created by Nacho-sama. And if you have been in the analog horror space, you've probably caught a glimpse of this game. Even Queso played it. It's that big. So if this game is blown up over the last 2 months, how good is it actually? Regardless, the story takes place in 1955. But in this time, alternates, which are called doppelgangers in this game, are a major issue. Unlike most other alternate-based horror, the doppelgangers are a well-known issue to all the people in the game. Less of an urban legend and more of a direct threat. A group called the Doppelganger Detection Department are taking matters into their own hands and cleaning up the doppelgangers. However, the doppelgangers are trying to get into your apartment. The game has the player take the role of the doorman. Your job is to make sure that everyone who wants in the building is a real resident and not a doppelganger pretending to be one. You do this by checking to see if their files are correct and that they're on the list of people who should be out. Some doppelgangers are really good at tricking the player, only having a couple issues with them, like bad documents or a weird picture. However, some of these doppelgangers are, well, they look like this. And if you know that they're a doppelganger, then call an emergency and, you know, incineration time. And at this state of the game, the gameplay loop is pretty simple. You just let the good guys in and don't let the bad guys in. Hopefully with more updates, they'll add more different possibilities. And the most recent update is the biggest one so far. They introduced a mode called Nightmare Mode. As far as lore, this takes place in a nightmare the doorman is having. Some gameplay changes include doppelgangers killing you instantly, imperfections being more subtle, and this dope-ass clown that wants to play a game with you. Visually, the game is very different with a bunch of blood everywhere, and Dr. W. Afton becomes even more of a FNAF reference. Other than it being harder, it's still the same game. So as a whole, is this game worth your time? The game is pretty cool, and don't get me wrong, I can see like a bit of a small fan base forming around it. However, I really don't think that it has the potential to be long running. I feel like it's going to be kind of a fad that dies out. Similar to a lot of other games, there isn't much of a reason to keep playing it after a couple runs. And you also can't really beat it either, so you can't really say that you beat the game. People are currently speedrunning it right now, which is pretty cool. But other than that, I don't see why people would replay the game. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with it just being a quick fad. Looking at the game at face value, it has an excellent aesthetic, a decent gameplay loop, and some memorable characters. Sort of memorable. I'm trying to think of some right now and I can't, so I don't know what that says. The problem that I have with it is that it's selling itself in the indie horror like category. However, the game just is not even remotely scary. I like the aesthetic of it, you know, it's pretty novelty, it's cute, but that's pretty much all I can really say about it, is that it is just a little cute game. And while it can be charming, I feel like people are going to forget about this one pretty quickly. Even as I'm recording this, I'm pretty worried that the game's going to be dead by the time I upload this video. So if that says anything, I could be wrong. I hope this game garners a fan base. It's pretty charming. Again, it's cute. I love that the milkman is a Tumblr sexy man. That's cool. I'm going to have to give this one a 4 out of 10. Please take that rating with a grain of salt though, because this is the first time I rate something. I'm trying to leave a leeway for like better games. I have a high hopes, but if you guys come back to this video forever in the future and see that I gave this game a 4 out of 10 and some ridiculously bad game something better, just remember that I have no like structure to work off of yet. But I was gonna say like this game is pretty mediocre, but compared to a bunch of other games I've played, it's probably a little less than mediocre. So I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. I was gonna do another McKendrick Does a Thing, but the thing is I totally have been playing Minecraft for 2 weeks straight and I haven't gotten a video out. I've been doing nothing but being in my room and applying for jobs. So there you go.